this is incredible. This has turned into quite a battle.
Yeah.
And it's the way it's really been framed is Airbnb versus the city and hotel industry. It's actually become, what, the most expensive local referendum in the state's history. You were actually in favor of legalizing home sharing back in 2015. What's changed?
So this will be the first time in the country that voters will have a direct vote on whether they like or they don't like, or if they want it regulated or they don't want it regulated. In 2015-16, I was a supporter. It was very small. It was mostly home sharing at the time, which is somebody sharing a bedroom or an apartment. And that's changed now to about 3,500 listings a night, growing. And most of it is commercial operators changing entire neighborhoods from the home sharing concept into unregulated hotels.
Is this a ban? Because I've heard it marketed as a ban.
Yeah, so Airbnb is spending millions of dollars to say that it's a ban. It's not a ban. There are rules, so it's going to be owner-occupied. You have to register. So there are restrictions around it, but it's definitely not a ban.
What are constituents saying? Have you done any kind of polling? There must be a split one way or the other.
Yeah, so going into today, most of the voters were undecided, slightly leaning towards yes on rules. But, Airbnb has put a lot of dollars into it because it's the New York market. It obviously has an impact on their IPO next year. And the narrative around whether, the politicians in each city are right around restrictive regulations, or voters say we want to have more of a free market here.
So, Mayor, there are some people who would be hurt here if the new rules go into place. Investors, landlords who have bought places under the expectation that the 2015 rules would remain in place. They've been there for about 4 years. I saw one landlord from Jersey City quoted as saying that if Jersey City would just enforce the regulations from 2015 dealing with multiple housing units and absentee landlords, that would address this problem. Why is he wrong?
Well, he's wrong because the rules from 2015 are virtually non-existent. There are no requirements really for registration, difficult to enforce, not a lot of transparency to it. So, he is being honest in the fact that it would have a change to his business model, but he could still rent it on a normal 6-month yearly lease. It would just change it from the short-term hotel model.
We know Airbnb has been spending to lobby against these regulations in Jersey City. Booking.com, VRBO, HomeAway, which are owned by Expedia, have they been as well? What has the conversation been like with those entities?
So Airbnb's been carrying most of the burden here. They've spent about $5 million so far over the last month on the referendum, and we haven't seen a lot of ads from VRBO. It's mostly driven by Airbnb.
Would we be having this conversation if officials in New York City hadn't cracked down as hard as they did on home sharing?
Probably not. I mean, you've seen exponential growth in Jersey City with tightening rules in New York, and that's probably going to get more tighter in the next year, which will probably force places in New Jersey to be more restrictive.
What do you say to critics out there that, and New York Times reported on this, right? That you had approached Airbnb for a contribution back in 2016, that delayed contribution from them in 2017. They say, according to the New York Times, that contributed to the frayed relationship with you. You started taking money from the hotel industry. What do you say in response to the critics out there that say that you are basically linked to or working on behalf of the hotel industry?
So let me start by saying that Airbnb has and been one of my biggest financial contributors, as have the hotel industry. Both of them are supporters. I'm thankful for both. Airbnb's belief is that because they are a contributor, that they don't need to have rules or regulations. That sort of nonsense that Airbnb is putting out there is just, at the end of a campaign and then kind of just putting anything out there to kind of move the public. But I didn't draft the rules. It was done by a committee of Jersey City residents. I didn't sit on the committee. I didn't partake in it, which kind of undermines their entire argument.
Have you been having conversations with other officials in other markets and other cities?
Other cities, and a lot of them are watching what the voters will actually say later today. So I'm sure if the voters say, yes, we want more rules, you'll see more cities going directly to being more restrictive.
What happens if they don't say yes?
I will cross that bridge when it comes. I mean, if it's a clear voice from the public saying they don't want to have rules, we got to respect that.